May 28, 2025. Peoples of Africa, receive our greetings. We call on our neighbor and partner, Algeria, to return to reason. This is a time for strategic cooperation, not provocation. These words are from the Minister of Defense, General Sadio Camara. Peoples of Africa, once again, receive our greetings. That being said, General Sadio Camara clearly states that Mali will not tolerate any aggression against any of its security or defense equipment, alluding to the Malian drone that was shot down. But he is keen to clarify that Mali is not seeking escalation. Far from it. Mali leaves that to those who lack vision, those who perhaps cannot see further ahead. That's my own commentary. They can't see beyond the end of their nose. Those who don't understand that the world is changing at a rapid pace. Those who perhaps don't realize that they risk being caught in their own game. That's why a hand is being extended. It is said, Mali is not seeking escalation, he reiterates it. And I think Algiers needs to be smart enough to understand this call. Now is the time for strategic partnership. It's not. This is not the time for provocation, because even Algerian experts today are saying that Algiers is increasingly surrounded. They say they feel threatened by the current military alliances of the Sahel countries, with certain countries that have come to approach us. Is there still an official military alliance? I said no. Not at the moment, but that doesn't mean there aren't ongoing discussions. Many countries have come recently to meet with Mali and the Sahel countries. We've talked about it. Libya, they are insisting a lot on the Niger side. And Saudi Arabia, which came with a coalition of Muslim countries against terrorism. Well, that's another debate. You understand what I'm saying? The United Arab Emirates here, through its Minister of Foreign Affairs, who toured the SA countries. In the face of all this, Algiers, which has made a lot of enemies and has much to lose, is trembling. But I think the Malian Minister of Defense has just reassured Algeria. By the way, he also made sure to point out that what happened was a provocation and that it was simply misinformation. It was false. Because when the minister says that Mali can controls its airspace, Mali fully controls its borders, and that means we have mastery over our own destiny. So the whole story about the drone crossing, leaving your airspace and coming into ours, all of that was false. It's pure provocation. But for once, he is speaking out on the issue. So he's asking Algiers to stop with this. And I think Algiers has every reason to stop with this. This may be one of the last warnings. I think everyone now knows their place. There was that. And there have been many other reprisals along the border by the Malian armed forces. We believe that we need to look ahead. We need to aim far. The countries of the East will exist. Whether people like it or not, we are going to exist. They did not choose to be here. As Abdoulaye Diop said, we also did not choose to be here. It's naturally, we are neighbors. It's up to us to understand we are bound by geography. Just by geography alone, we are obliged to find a way to live together. But trying to destabilize us in order to thrive or hoping to sell us out to the colonizers, that is unacceptable. Going and signing all the security cooperation agreements in the Sahel without being a Sahel country, that's provocation. Those are acts of aggression that we cannot tolerate in the long term. So we need to move beyond all of this. We have to overcome it. In the life of nations, there are often difficult times, but Algiers must step out. This is really my advice, must step out of its stance of wanting to have geopolitical influence over the countries of the Sahel at all costs. No. Each country should have its own influence based on its economy, its military, and its internal components. Do countries like Qatar need to geographically control many other countries around them? It's a small country, Bahrain, for example, yet they still have their own influence. Algeria, which already has an area of nearly 2,400,000 square kilometers. What more do you need than that? The largest country in Africa. Isn't that enough for you? For you, the only way to have influence is to be able to control the disorder and chaos among your neighbors. But that can't last in the long run. If it's in the name of that that you tell yourselves, important at the sub-regional level, that this is their strength, they're the ones who can make war, who can make peace. And so everyone has to deal with them. At this rate, I think you've already lost the trans-Saharan gas pipelines, which would no doubt have given you significant geopolitical weight. There, you've just lost that. And if you persist with this arrogance, you risk losing a lot. So we're telling you, now is not the time for provocation. Our partnership should be strategic. You have to see, you have to open your eyes wide. You need to look far ahead, understand the stakes of the moment. Look at the world, what's happening on a global level. Look at what's happening between Trump, Putin, and Xi Jinping. Try to grasp, to understand the stakes, instead of being here with Al-Qaeda. Jenny, what is Jenny? What? Fleur? Algiers needs to get out of this little game. It doesn't make you look good. How long are you going to keep harboring racing dog snakes in your midst? But the snake is dangerous, you know. It can turn on its master at any moment. It's very dangerous. Stop playing with that. Stop playing with that. We've heard that it's a General Al-Hassan who is now being appointed as the head of intelligence over there. Someone who is known for his shady past. He is known for his connections with terrorist networks, with the networks of mafia networks. He's known for that. If all of this has been set in motion at the same time, I see that there has been a cover-up where certain Algerian officials are trying to hush things up. But hush things up, that's in your own interest. Otherwise, you, the others, will be forced to form this military coalition to put an end to the threat called the junta. Yes, that's possible. And it's important to take into account that General Sadio Camara was traveling to Kidal, where he visited a gold refinery. That sends a message with real weight. A gold refinery, back then, for more than 10 years, when Kidal was outside the control of the Malian armed forces, when MINUSMA was there, Barkhane was there, Takuba was there, and they were the pro-Macron coalition terrorists stole the gold from Kidal, the gold that was refined in Kidal. Where was that gold taken? Where was it transported? Everyone knows the answer. So when he says now, let's return to a strategic partnership, that really means something. So he was in Kidal, and it was there, in fact, that he made a point of clarifying something. When he was asked about what's going on, rumors of tensions between him, the Minister of Defense, and the number one, that is the President, His Excellency General Assimi Goïta, then General Malik Diaw, who was very clear on this, said that no political opportunist will allow or be able to lead Mali into another destabilization. For a long time, people were chanting Malik Diaw's name. General Malik Diaw is going to do this, he's going to do that. When he made a public statement, he put an end to all those rumors. Since then, his name hasn't come up anymore. They even say that he himself is more radical than President Assimi. Assimi is moderate, he takes his time. And General Sadio Camara said that he knows His Excellency President Assimi Goïta very well. He didn't just say well, he said very well. Why? Because he fought alongside him. They fought many battles together in the north, side by side. That's what a lot of people don't know. He says, having fought alongside him, you can say anything you want about General Assimi Goïta, anything, except that he doesn't love Mali, anything but that. And everyone knows he is a true patriot. That this communication, this kind of disinformation appears, and it is in fact the deliberate work of the enemies of the country. The work of the enemies of our people, those individuals who want to destabilize the countries and undermine our stability. That is their wish, but it's not the reality. He says that it doesn't work here, and it will not work here. So we must remove from our minds, we must remove from the debate that there is a problem between them. And he says that will not work here because he says the enemies want to divide them, want to set them against each other. Did you see what they did in Sudan? The generals who took power, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, General Hemeti, but they set them against each other. And that's why Sudan is so torn apart now. In South Sudan, when they gained their so-called independence, Salva Kiir, President Salva Kiir, and his Vice President Riek Machar, they were divided. And that has caused more than 300,000 deaths so far. The conflict continues. We know the cost. When the imperialists tried to divide, and thank God, after General Malik Diaw, General Sadio Camara has just been very clear about this, it won't work here. The issue of accusing our armies of committing abuses against civilians, of naming a particular community, he said, no, that's not true. Again, that's manipulation. And in the Malian armed forces, all communities are represented. Yes, all communities. We have many Fulani officers, many non-commissioned officers, and Fulani enlisted men. There is no community problem here. It's Emmanuel Macron, what they tried in Rwanda. The Hutus against the Tutsis, it's the same thing they want to try in the Sahel region because they know our communities are present in all these countries. You will find Fulani people in Mali, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, Chad, and Cameroon. You will find Fulani people in all these countries. So for Macron, they must be used by him as part of his energy war, and he finds certain propagandists among Africans who spread absurd rhetoric. We saw a woman in Burkina who made bogus statements, or that the chiefs of staff of Burkina Faso, it's a bit, the chiefs of staff, the heads of the armies in Burkina, it's a bit. So how can he be a Fulani and then go kill Fulani people? That's not true. He says terrorists have no community. For example, my community is Soninke. If there are young Soninke among them, we don't say they are Soninke. We say they are terrorists. As soon as you cut down trees on Macron's orders for Emmanuel Macron's energy interests, but by spreading misinformation, lying to the people that you are doing jihad, you're actually engaging in terrorism. Because what do terrorists do? They burn the crops. The crops, and what religion allows that? Here, people farm, and they only have 3 months to work the land. 3 months. And the other 9 months must be used to make the most of the accelerated, intense work done during those 3 months. And they come and burn the crops. The rice, often the rice, they burn it. I would even say they burn everything. As for the cotton, that's not even mentioned. They burn people's crops in the name of what religion? The other day, they went and destroyed the machinery that was supposed to build roads. They destroyed a lot of equipment meant for road construction, yet their rhetoric, as we say in Bambara, every time they open their mouths, no, it's because such a part of the country is not developed. And every time you try to develop that part of the country, they go and wreck it. That's what they did. They attacked the Tausa Dam so that the northern regions of Mali wouldn't have enough electricity. What do they gain from this? Often when we try to transport fuel, they're there to attack the convoy. But what do they want? To keep the population in precarious conditions and then use that as a pretext to recruit from among these people. That's all. Second objective, to find a way to further frustrate the population in hopes of provoking an uprising. So that Emmanuel Macron's man can come to power here, the whole game is understood, the whole game is known. We know everything, absolutely everything, nothing is hidden. Everything they're doing is just to satisfy Emmanuel Macron's cronies. It's the head of Al-Qaeda, Obeida, who gave an interview on France 24. Wassim Nasser is their chief reporter. Sir Daniel is their second reporter. They're somewhat involved in this. But still, they told us they were just tourists. Today, it's those same people handling their communications. If they commit even the smallest attack, Emmanuel Macron's propaganda media jump on it. They only do. But every time the Malian army crushes them, there's complete silence. Who doesn't want to understand what? Anyway, this was an opportunity for us to briefly comment a bit on General Sadio Camara's recent remarks. We say what we take away from this media appearance is the unity within the ranks. The Malian armed forces have clearly understood what is at stake. We call on the population to cooperate even more with the defense and security forces so that together we can overcome these challenges that are being imposed on us. Those we call terrorists are actually mercenaries. We are fighting against a coalition of several countries. The same thing you see between Putin and Zelensky is exactly what's happening with President Emmanuel Macron. They send, they arm, they support, they communicate, they do everything for these terrorist groups. People of Africa and the countries of the East, led by General Assimi Goïta, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, and General Chiani, we are resolutely and firmly determined to overcome these mercenaries who have blocked calls from the terrorists. Thank you, and see you tomorrow for another 6-day news summit.